Archangel Michael says, "My dear child, do not let go now, for the last 2 minutes of this video hold the key to something greater than you have imagined. Stay with me until the very end, for within those final words your blessing is waiting to be revealed." Heaven's alert has reached the earth like a whisper through the wind, gentle but urgent, filled with the breath of divine mercy and grace, carrying a message that must not be ignored, for a soul in your family has broken through the veil with words wrapped in light and truth, reaching out with a longing not born of sorrow, but of a love so deep, so holy, that it could only come from the heart of God Himself. There are moments in life when the ordinary suddenly becomes sacred, when the air feels heavier with meaning, and the sky opens just enough for the light of heaven to slip through and touch the soul in quiet, breathtaking ways. This is one of those moments, and this message is not simply to be read, but to be felt, held close, and allowed to stir the depths of the heart where God often whispers most tenderly. Type Amen to trust God's plan for your life. The soul who has broken through is not lost, not gone, not forgotten. They have walked through the valley, crossed the river, and now they dwell in a place where peace is no longer a hope, but a constant presence. They have seen the face of the Lord Jesus Christ, whose eyes shine with a love that never ends and whose arms open wide to all who believe, to all who cling to faith, even when the night is long and the answers seem far away. They are not sending fear or sadness, but a holy echo of comfort that only heaven could give. This message begins with a gentle call to remember. Not just to remember the person who once sat at the table, whose laughter filled the room, whose voice lingered in halls and hearts, but to remember the truth that our lives are part of something much greater than we can see. The soul who sends this message is now more alive than ever, not bound by the limits of time or breath, but free in the love of God, breathing in the eternal light that never dims, and in their joy, they long for you to know what they now understand. Like this video and subscribe to this channel if you are grateful for God's mercy. They want you to know that Jesus never left your side, even in the hardest moments, even in the seasons of silence when it felt like prayers were falling into nothingness. They want you to believe, not just with your mind, but with the very fabric of your being, that God hears every cry, sees every tear, and holds every broken piece with a care so tender it would leave you in awe if only you could feel the warmth of His hand. This soul stands in glory now, but they have not forgotten the journey that brought them there, and they speak with love, not to pull you into grief, but to lift you into hope. What if you could unlock a secret brain wave that top scientists discovered inside the hippocampus, the very switch that signals wealth and abundance? Hidden from the public for decades, this breakthrough can rewire your mind to attract prosperity faster than you imagined. Picture the stress of bills replaced with financial freedom and new opportunities. Every delay is a missed blessing, and those who act now are already walking into the wealth you deserve. Step forward before the door closes. Click the link in the video description and comments below to activate this ancient money wave and step into abundance today. They speak of peace that came like a soft rain after a long drought, washing away every ache, every fear, every shadow. They speak of angels who do not simply watch, but walk with us, surrounding us in the stillness when we are too weary to go on. They speak of Jesus, not as a distant figure, but as a friend who carried them, a shepherd who found them, a savior who never once gave up on them, even when they had stopped believing in their own worth. They know now what they wish they had understood all along, that God's love is not earned or measured, it simply is, and it never runs out. This soul longs for you to hold on, even when the world grows loud and dark, even when faith feels small and the days stretch too long without comfort. They want you to remember that heaven is real, not as a concept, but as a home, a place where laughter never ends, where healing is complete, and where love is not just spoken but seen and touched in every light-filled moment. They want you to know that everything you do in love, every act of kindness, every word of forgiveness, every quiet moment of prayer, it all matters, it all echoes in eternity. Type 444 if you believe in God's divine protection. Though they walk now on streets paved in gold and breathe the sweet air of heaven, their heart is not far from yours. Love does not die. It cannot. In God's kingdom, love grows stronger, brighter, purer, and it reaches across the veil with hands that still remember the warmth of yours. They are not calling you to live in sadness, but to live with purpose, to remember that this life is not the end, but the beginning of a journey that will one day lead you into the arms of Christ, where every pain will be healed, every loss restored, and every longing fulfilled. So do not turn away from this message. Let it settle into your soul like morning sunlight on your skin. Let it soften the edges of your grief, and lift your eyes just a little higher than the weight of this world. Let it remind you that you are never alone, not now, not ever. Heaven watches, heaven cares, and heaven speaks, and today, it is speaking to you, through the love of a soul who has gone ahead, through the voice of Michael, and through the gentle, everlasting truth of God's unfailing love. Archangel Michael says, heaven's alert continues, and the message grows stronger, wrapped in light that is both tender and powerful, rising like the warmth of morning sun over a weary soul. The soul who broke through is still speaking, still calling, still wrapped in a love that cannot fade. This is not the kind of message that fades like a dream. This is the kind that plants something eternal deep inside your spirit, something that will bloom with every breath you take, if only you allow it. In this next part, you are being gently led to remember something even more personal. Not just that someone from your family has reached out, but that the story of God's love was never about distant places or long-ago miracles. It has always been about now. It has always been about you. It is about your moments of quiet ache, your whispered prayers in the dark, your hope that trembles but still clings. That soul, once part of your world, now standing in glory, has seen what waits on the other side of pain, and they have returned with a single purpose, to make sure you know that you are not forgotten, not for a moment, not by God, not by heaven, and not by them. This soul remembers your face, the way your hands once held theirs, the sound of your voice when the world was softer. But even more than memory, what they hold now is light, divine light, and they are pouring it into your heart through this message. They have seen Jesus, and now they walk beside him, clothed in peace, and they want you to know that everything you hoped for, everything you feared might be lost forever, has not only survived but been made whole. God's love is not small. It is not held back by time or space or death. It flows endlessly, quietly, patiently waiting for hearts to open again. And that is what this moment is, a quiet knock on the door of your heart, a whisper that carries heaven with it, and the gentle urging to let God's love reach the places in you that have been hidden away for too long. This is not about sorrow. This is not about holding on to grief until it becomes your shadow. This is about standing up from the ashes and stepping into a light that does not burn but heals. It is about realizing that every moment you love someone, every time you forgive, every time you choose kindness when it's hard, you are touching eternity in ways you cannot yet see. That soul who broke through has seen it clearly now. They see the ripple of every loving act, every prayer, every sacrifice, and they speak now with gratitude and joy, not sorrow, because you helped lead them home, even if you didn't realize it at the time. Type 555 to receive blessings and miracles. They remember the prayers you said when no one was watching, the times you held on even when everything in you wanted to let go. They remember your kindness, your forgiveness, your faith that wavered but never disappeared. And they are telling you now that those things mattered more than you will ever understand. Nothing you did in love was wasted. God saw it all. Heaven held it all. Let your heart rest in that truth. Let it quiet the noise that tells you that your life is too small to matter. Let it remind you that the way you love, the way you endure, the way you keep going even when you feel broken, that is where God's light shines through most clearly. What if a simple 7-minute sound frequency could awaken a forgotten brain signal designed to pull wealth toward you like a magnet? Backed by shocking CIA files and neuroscience, this discovery is now changing lives everywhere. Think of debts melting away, promotions arriving, and abundance flowing freely. This is the one moment that can rewrite your future, but only if you claim it now, because hesitation will only keep you chained to the same struggles. Click the link in video description and comments below to experience the hidden wealth wave and let your financial destiny shift in your favor today. The soul who speaks now stands with Jesus, and they are filled with peace, not because everything was easy, but because everything was made whole. And they are here now, through this message, to be a soft voice in your spirit, saying that you are still being watched over, still being carried, still being loved in a way that cannot be undone. Let yourself feel the warmth in that. Let it move through the cracks in your heart like soft rain. Let it reach into the places that have gone quiet from too much hurt. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. There is more to come. More healing. More peace. More of God's love, unfolding like a slow sunrise. This soul has more to share, more light to give, and more stories of heaven to wrap around your weary heart. Stay close. Part 3 is already on its way, with more truth, more hope, and more of the love that never ends. Archangel Michael says, Heaven's alert is not a single moment, but a flowing stream of truth, a gentle and unending call from above, echoing through your heart with soft persistence, lighting every step you take with the love of the one who made you. The soul who broke through into the light has not vanished into silence but continues to speak, not with the loudness of the world, but with the still, pure voice that only heaven knows, the kind of voice that speaks straight to your spirit, without needing sound. They come bearing peace, not to stir your sorrow, but to steady your soul, to remind you that life is not meant to be walked alone, and no part of your story is hidden from God's eyes. What feels like an ending here is often the very beginning of something eternal, and in that holy space between here and there, this soul wants you to know that love is never lost, not even for a moment. Their message now turns to something deeper, not just remembering who they were, but letting yourself believe in what they've become. Their spirit is not wandering, not uncertain, not caught in any shadows. They are resting in the arms of the Lord Jesus, held close to the very heart of God, surrounded by light that never fades. And yet, even in that beauty, they look toward you with a longing full of joy, not sadness, because their love did not end with death, and their hope is now stronger than ever. Type 666 if you trust in God's grace and mercy. They see your struggles, not with judgment, but with a compassion so soft it feels like the wind through trees on a quiet afternoon. They see the weight you carry, the questions you bury, the strength you offer others while you're silently breaking inside. And through this message, they are reaching across eternity to say that God has never left you. Even in the stillness, even in the places where you feel most forgotten, God is closer than your breath, and every step you've taken has been guided by His unseen hand. Let yourself lean into that truth. Don't try to explain it or shape it or control it, just let it be. Let it rest inside you like a candle lit on a dark night. That light doesn't need to be loud or fierce to change everything around it. It only needs to keep shining, and it will. The soul who sends this message is a witness to that truth now. They have seen the golden shores of heaven, walked the halls of peace, and stood in the presence of pure love. And in all of that beauty, they found their hearts still beating with a deep care for you. Their words come not as commands, but as invitations, to forgive more, to love more freely, to live without fear that everything will slip away. They know now that nothing done in love is ever wasted, and they are urging you, with the fullness of their joy, to let go of what burdens your spirit and step into the comfort that only God can give. Every act of faith, no matter how small, opens a door in heaven, and every tear you've cried has been collected by the same hands that once calmed storms and healed the broken. This soul wants you to stop punishing yourself for what you didn't say, or for not knowing how to hold on tighter when life was changing faster than your heart could keep up. They want you to stop replaying those final moments, to stop wondering if they knew how much you loved them, because they did. They always did. And now, with their spirit made whole, they carry that love like a treasure, not just remembering it, but living in it fully, completely, and eternally. You are not alone in your grief. You are not alone in your faith. You are not alone in your quiet moments when the world seems too much. Heaven walks with you. Jesus walks with you. And so does this soul, not as a ghost or shadow, but as a living light in the vast kingdom of God, always near, always praying for you, always believing that one day, you will see what they see, and everything will make sense in a way that words here can never fully capture. Until then, hold on. Not with clenched fists, but with open hands and a willing heart. Let this message be a breath of peace in your day, a whisper of what is waiting, a gentle reminder that life here is only the first chapter. And when it feels like too much, when the ache is heavy and the road unclear, remember that this soul who once walked beside you in life is still with you in love, and love is the one thing that death can never take away. There is more to unfold. More truth to share. More of God's comfort to pour into your heart. Stay with this message. Part 4 is already on its way, carrying more of the light, more of the healing, and more of the sacred truth that heaven is near, and love never leaves. Type "I love God" to claim abundance through God's love. Archangel Michael says, "Heaven's alert does not come to stir fear or confusion, but to gently awaken your spirit to something eternal, something sacred, something drenched in light and truth. A soul who was once part of your family, who laughed with you, sat beside you, and shared the joys and burdens of this earth, has broken through with a message that carries the fragrance of heaven and the calm strength of God's voice. They speak now not with human words, but through the softness of your spirit, urging you to slow down and feel, not just hear, what they long to share. Their message is not one of regret, nor is it a recounting of the past. It is a call toward healing, not the kind that forgets the wound, but the kind that lets light in through the cracks. They want you to know that heaven is not far. It is not above the clouds or locked behind gates that only the perfect may enter. Heaven is close, closer than your next breath, woven into every act of love, resting gently in your prayers, sitting with you in the silence of your hardest days. This soul has seen the truth of that now, and they are longing for you to see it too, not just someday, but even now, even here. What if the missing piece to financial success wasn't luck, but a hidden frequency inside your brain waiting to be switched on? Once activated, this ancient signal unleashes waves of prosperity, opening doors to opportunities you never thought possible. From sudden windfalls to long-awaited breakthroughs, it's transforming lives daily. Want to see how? Click the link in the video description and comments below to tap into the money magnet brain wave and begin your journey today. Others are already awakening this hidden signal and watching their lives transform. Do not be the one left behind while abundance passes you by. Jesus walks among his people, not with fanfare, but with quiet footsteps, and this soul has walked beside him, held by the hand that once carried a cross for the sake of all. Their journey did not end with their final heartbeat. It began there. And now, every step they take in the light of heaven is guided by joy, by peace, and by a love so whole it heals everything it touches. They have not forgotten you. Not your laughter. Not your pain. Not the times you sat in quiet, wishing for more time, more answers, more signs. They have brought this message because they now live in the fullness of God's truth, and that truth is this: nothing done in love ever ends. Every whispered prayer, every shared tear, every memory wrapped in kindness is alive in God's hands, where nothing is ever lost. They speak to you now because you are still walking through the shadows, still reaching for light, still wondering if God is near. And they want you to know, He is. More than near. He is with you. In the soft stillness of your room. In the gentle wind outside your window. In the tears that fall when you remember. In the courage it takes to keep going when you don't have all the answers. Let that truth be a blanket around your heart. Let it breathe through you, loosening the weight that grief often lays on your chest. Let it remind you that even in the middle of heartache, something holy is happening. God is not wasting a single moment of your pain. He is shaping it, redeeming it, turning it into something that will shine more brightly than you can imagine. That soul knows this now. They live in the beauty of it. And they want you to walk toward it with hope, not fear. They are not watching from afar with sorrow in their eyes. They are filled with light, with peace, and with a joy so deep that it cannot be measured by earthly things. But even in all of that, they are still reaching toward you, not to pull you back, but to call you forward. Forward into faith. Forward into forgiveness. Forward into the healing that only God can give. Type 999 if you trust Jesus with all your heart. This moment, right now, is not just another page in your day. It is sacred. Because heaven has paused, leaned in, and sent a message wrapped in love and carried by the wings of faith. Don't rush past it. Let it sit with you. Let it move you. Let it change something inside you, even something small. That's how God works. He plants seeds in silence, and from them grow gardens of grace. There is more still to say, more still to feel, more of God's comfort to pour into your spirit. The next part will come soon, filled with the same warmth and truth. Let your heart remain open. Let it listen like the earth listens for rain. What is coming next will only deepen the peace already beginning to take root inside you. Heaven is not done speaking. And neither is the soul who now lives in its light. Type Amen if you believe in God's love, and share this inspiring video with 7 friends to open the way for blessings and miracles. Archangel Michael says, Heaven's alert continues to pour forth like a river of light, flowing through the quiet spaces in your soul, touching places that may have been still and aching for far too long. The voice of the soul who has broken through from your family does not speak in thunder or fire, but in a way that makes the heart lean in, soft and gentle, like the sound of leaves in a breeze or the hush of early morning light. They are speaking now not from the weight of the past, but from the fullness of God's healing, hoping you will let this message wash over you and stay. There is something sacred about remembering through the eyes of love, not clinging to what was lost, but letting it show you what is still true, what has never left, what is eternal. The soul who once sat beside you in laughter or silence has been drawn fully into the presence of Christ, and from that place, they are now sending you light meant not only to comfort, but to awaken something deeper within you, the knowing that you are still part of a love story written by God, one that has no end. In heaven, there is no distance, no confusion, no fear. This soul, once bound by the limits of time and breath, now sees all things clearly, and the clearest thing of all is the depth of God's love for you. They now understand the weight you carry, the prayers you whispered with trembling hands, the nights you sat alone wondering if anything you did ever made a difference. And they want to tell you, yes, it did. Every choice you made in love, every time you forgave when it was hard, every quiet moment of faith you held on to even when it didn't make sense, it was seen by God, cherished by heaven, and it shaped more than you know. They want you to stop measuring your worth by what went unsaid or undone. They want you to know they hold no blame, no sadness, only light, only truth, only the joy that comes from seeing things the way Jesus sees them. And in that joy, they are asking you, gently, lovingly, to begin seeing yourself the same way. As someone deeply loved, wholly known, never abandoned. As someone whose soul has always been precious to God, even when you struggle to believe it. Type 1010 to affirm that God's timing is perfect. Their words are not meant to stir guilt or longing, but to awaken your spirit to something you may have forgotten, that you were created for more than pain, more than survival. You were made to be filled with light, to walk in hope, to live with a love that endures not just through death, but far beyond it. They see you now not through the lens of memory, but through the eyes of eternity. And what they see is someone whose life is still unfolding in beauty, even if it's hard to feel it yet. They are not simply looking back. They are pointing forward, toward healing, toward faith, toward the day when all things will be made new. They are asking you to stop clinging to what you couldn't control and to start leaning into what God is still doing. Because God is not finished. He never leaves a story incomplete. And the ache you carry now will one day be replaced with a peace that makes sense of everything. This soul speaks not as someone far away, but as someone who walks beside you in a different way now, not bound by body, but alive in spirit, wrapped in the same grace that holds your heart every single day. They walk with Jesus, and in Him, they are near. So very near. Not to haunt, not to sadden, but to remind you that love truly never dies, and everything good you shared is still alive in God's hands. So if your heart feels tired, if your spirit feels thin from all the days you've had to carry more than you could say, let this message remind you, you are being held. Even now. Even in this moment. The soul who reached through from heaven is still with you, and they are asking you to keep going, not because it's easy, but because your story still has meaning, still holds purpose, still carries the breath of God. Let this message stay with you tonight. Let it soften what's hardened, soothe what's sore, and bring warmth to the places that have gone cold. More is coming. More love. More healing. More of God's voice reaching gently through the veil. The next part is on its way, and it carries with it another wave of peace, because heaven has more to say, and your heart is ready to receive it. Archangel Michael says, heaven's alert continues, as steady and faithful as the love of the one who sent it, carrying more than just a message. It carries the nearness of a soul who has stepped fully into the light and now longs for you to feel what they now know without question, that you are deeply seen, completely known, and forever loved by God. What if you discovered a tiny, walnut-sized brain region holds the secret to endless wealth and success? Recently uncovered by groundbreaking research and once buried in classified files, this frequency is now available to anyone ready to listen. Imagine replacing worry and struggle with a life of financial ease and freedom. Interested? Click the link in video description and comments below to unleash this hidden brain wave and start attracting wealth right now. You have been guided to this message for a reason, and if you turn away, the chance may not return. This is your time to step in. This soul does not come to reopen your wounds, but to help you see that even in your deepest pain, something holy was always unfolding. They have seen the full picture now. They've seen how the pieces of life, the moments that made sense, and the ones that didn't, all fit into a beautiful design that only God could create. And with every part of their being, they want you to know that none of it was for nothing. Not the tears, not the struggle, not even the silence. Every part of your story mattered, and still does. They are not asking you to pretend you're not hurting. They are not telling you to move on or forget. They are simply offering their peace, their perspective, and their love, not from memory, but from the place where love is no longer bound by time or fear. They speak from a home where there is no more sorrow, where healing is not a hope but a reality, and they are gently asking you to believe that such peace is not only for the life after this one, but that it can begin here, now, in small but sacred ways. Type 1111 if you believe heaven is listening. Their journey into eternity was not an end, but a return. A return to the God who first breathed life into them, and who now surrounds them with glory too beautiful for words. And in that place, they see you, not as someone who has been left behind, but as someone still walking the path God has written, step by step, breath by breath, always covered by grace. They remember your kindness. They remember your forgiveness, your love, your prayers. And now they hold all of those moments like precious jewels, thankful beyond words that you gave what you could, that you stayed when it was hard, that you tried your best even when your heart was breaking. They want you to stop replaying regrets like a record stuck on pain. They want you to know that everything you gave in love was enough. It was seen. It was received. And it was more powerful than you could ever imagine. They are not reaching out because they are lost or unfinished. They are reaching out because they are full of peace, full of joy, full of the love of Jesus. And in that fullness, they want you to be lifted. To feel that same presence they now live in. To know that even as you face hard days, you are never alone. Not even for a moment. They want you to feel the nearness of God in the small moments, in the quiet of your room, in the soft glow of the morning, in the sound of someone laughing, in the stillness where your heart starts to remember again what it means to hope. They want you to live, not just survive, but live. Live like someone who is loved by heaven. Because you are. They are not calling you to forget them. They are calling you to carry them in a new way, not as a weight, but as a light. Not as a shadow, but as a flame. Their love is not gone, it has simply changed form, and it now shines through the memories that make you smile unexpectedly, through the strength you didn't know you had, through the love you continue to give to others, even when it's hard. And in all of this, Jesus stands beside you, just as He stands beside them. He holds the sorrow and the joy. He weeps with you, and He rejoices over you. And one day, one beautiful, promised day, all things will be made new, and you will understand every unanswered question, and every painful silence will become a song. Until then, the soul who broke through wants you to keep walking. Not alone. Never alone. Walk with God. Walk in hope. Walk knowing that every step is watched over by heaven, and every beat of your heart still matters deeply. More is still unfolding. Heaven is not done speaking. Part 6 is already on its way, and it carries another layer of love, another note of peace, and more of the healing that only eternity can give. Rest now, but keep your heart open. You are part of something far bigger than your pain, something eternal, something holy, something led by the one who never lets go. Type 1212 if you know God is guiding your steps. Archangel Michael says, Heaven's alert carries on like the quiet rise of dawn over a weary landscape, where the stillness begins to hum again with gentle life, where the cold gives way to warmth, and where the soul, once burdened, once afraid, begins to understand that nothing is lost in God's care, and no love ever ends in His kingdom. The one who has broken through is still speaking, not with loud declarations, but with a presence so full of peace that even the deepest sorrow begins to soften. The soul who once walked beside you has not disappeared, not slipped into some unreachable place, but has entered into the fullness of light, and in that light, they are turning back to you now with the kind of love that doesn't age or weaken, but only grows more complete with each passing moment in the presence of Christ. They speak from a place beyond time, and yet they are near, so very near, as if heaven itself breathes beside you when you pause to feel it. They want you to know that what once seemed like an ending has become something far more beautiful than words can hold. They don't speak from sorrow or from unfinished things, but from the center of God's peace, where every wound has been made whole, and every question finds its rest in the kindness of Jesus. There is no regret in their voice, only thankfulness, only grace, only the steady joy that comes from knowing that everything, even the hardest days, led them home. And in that joy, they are thinking of you. Not with sadness, but with a love so strong and gentle that it carries through every moment of your life. They have seen the way you carry pain quietly, how you continue to show up even when your heart is heavy, how you hold on to faith even when it feels fragile. And they want you to know, more than anything else, that none of it has gone unnoticed. God sees you. He always has. And now, so do they, clearly, beautifully, without the shadows of misunderstanding or fear. They see your soul, and they are filled with hope, not just for where you've been, but for where you are going. They know now what they couldn't always express while on earth, that the journey was never just about what we can see, but about who we become as we learn to trust, to forgive, to love, and to let go. What if I told you financial freedom is not about working harder, but activating a dormant brain signal designed to draw abundance directly to you? Neuroscience proves this sound wave unlocks prosperity faster than any method known before. From unexpected cash to life-changing success, it's already helping thousands. Imagine looking back tomorrow wishing you had acted today. Do not let regret replace the miracle that is calling you right now. Click the link in the video description and comments below to turn on the ancient money wave and create the life you've always dreamed of today. They have found freedom, not in forgetting you, but in remembering you with a love no longer tied to pain. In the presence of Jesus, they've been filled with a peace that spills over now into this message, hoping it reaches the places in your heart that have grown tired from trying to understand why things happened the way they did. They don't want you to stay trapped in the ache. They want you to feel the truth, that death does not take away love, and God does not abandon His children, not for a second. They are not only at peace, they are more alive than ever, surrounded by a love that makes every part of them sing, wrapped in a glory so soft and steady it cannot be described, only felt when your heart is still enough to sense it. And from that place, they are praying for you, not out of pity, but with deep belief in your strength, your goodness, your future. They know how hard it is to keep walking with hope when the world feels heavy, but they are reminding you now that heaven walks with you. Jesus walks with you. Type 1313 to affirm strength through the Lord. They've seen Him, not just in stories or hopes, but face to face, and now they carry His love like a flame, sending it back through the veil to rest on your shoulders like a gentle hand. They speak now not just to comfort, but to encourage. To remind you that your life is still being held by something sacred, still unfolding in ways that matter more than you know. You may not feel it every day. Some days will still feel quiet, or lonely, or full of questions. But this message, this holy whisper from heaven, is here to tell you that you are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are not wandering without direction. Even when it feels like you're barely holding on, you are still being led, still being loved, still being watched over with a tenderness deeper than the sky. Archangel Michael says, "Heaven's alert has not faded, it continues to flow from eternity like a soft and steady song, meant to be felt more than heard, meant to reach not just your mind, but the quiet places in your spirit where words often cannot go." The soul from your family who has crossed into the light still reaches toward you, not with hands but with love, a love that remains unbroken, a love that has only grown deeper since stepping into the presence of the Lord. This soul does not come to stir what has already healed, nor to reopen wounds that time has tried so gently to soften. They come instead to remind you that healing does not mean forgetting. It means learning to carry love without the ache, to remember without breaking, to let joy rise again without fear that it replaces what was lost. They now live in a place where nothing is ever truly lost, where love is never buried, and where every soul is held with perfect care. They have seen the beauty of what lies beyond this life, not in some distant dream, but in the real, sacred light of God. They have walked through the gates of peace, into a home not built with hands but with grace, and in that place, they have remembered everything, every smile, every kindness, every struggle you shared. But most of all, they remember your love, not as something gone, but as something still alive, still part of them, still echoing through eternity like a prayer answered in light. Now, they want you to breathe easier. They want you to let go of the heaviness that has tried to follow you through the days and nights. Not because your love should fade, but because your heart deserves to rest in the truth. They are at peace, they are in glory, and they are not gone in the way you fear. They are not silent, not missing, not drifting through shadows. They are alive, more alive than ever, and they carry your name like a melody that never stops singing. Their love has not stayed behind. It has moved forward with them. It surrounds you now in ways you may not always notice, in the sudden calm during a restless night, in the warmth that floods your chest for no reason at all, in the feeling that somehow, someone is still with you when no one else is around. That is not imagination. That is not coincidence. That is love, still reaching, still wrapping around your life like a gentle reminder that heaven is not far. Jesus, in His mercy, allows these moments, these glimpses, these whispers, not to confuse or sadden you, but to remind you that the veil between earth and heaven is thin, and love passes through it more easily than you think. The soul who once stood beside you in life now stands in the presence of Christ, and in that presence, they have found not only peace for themselves, but hope for you. Type 1414 if you believe in divine protection. They want you to remember that the God who holds them now also holds you, every hour of every day. When you feel weak, He is steady. When you feel lost, He still knows the way. When you feel like too much has been taken from you, He is already preparing to restore what you thought could never return. This soul sees that now, and they are trying to tell you that your story is still in motion, still wrapped in grace, still being carried gently by the one who loves you most. You don't have to be strong every day. You don't have to understand everything. You don't even have to know how to move forward. You only need to let God carry you when you can't carry yourself. That soul knows how it feels to be weary. They remember. But they also know what waits on the other side of endurance, peace like water, joy like light, love like 1,000 mornings rising all at once. So if your heart is tired, let this part of the message be a place of rest. Let it tell you that you are doing better than you think. Let it remind you that even if your prayers feel small, they are still powerful, and even if your faith feels fragile, it is still enough. God does not measure your strength, He surrounds your weakness with His own, and it is more than enough. Archangel Michael says, "Heaven's alert flows onward like a holy river that never dries, gently winding through the soul's hardest seasons, carrying truth not meant to overwhelm, but to hold, to lift, to comfort." The one who has broken through still speaks from a place untouched by time, their voice full of light and certainty, because where they now stand, all things are clear, and what was once confusing has become a song of peace. They don't speak in riddles. They don't speak in sorrow. They speak in love, the kind of love that wraps around you when the world feels cold, the kind that doesn't need to be explained because your heart already knows it's real. They've seen Jesus. They've stood before Him. They've looked into the eyes of the one who gave everything for love, and they have felt the kind of belonging no earthly moment could ever give. And from that place, they remember you. Not as someone left behind, but as someone still being drawn forward by grace. They remember your voice, your care, your worries, your laughter, and your silent prayers. They remember your struggles, the times you felt you had nothing more to give but still chose to love anyway. And now, they speak not to stir sadness, but to remind you that those moments mattered. You mattered. Every act of love you gave, even the ones that felt too small to be seen, was planted in eternity, where it lives on, bearing fruit you may not yet see. The soul wants you to understand that heaven is not some distant place in a future far away. It is real. It is near. It is already woven into your life in ways you may not yet have realized. Every time you choose hope instead of fear, every time you forgive instead of growing bitter, every time you reach for God even in the dark, you are touching heaven. They know that now, and they want you to live with that same awareness, that same peace. They know the ache that lingers in your heart, the one that comes at night when everything is quiet and your thoughts start to drift. They know the questions that still echo inside you, the things you wish had been different, the words you wish you had spoken, the moments you wish you could go back and hold on to longer. And they are here to say, let those thoughts rest. Not because they don't matter, but because in God's mercy, nothing is left undone. Type 1515 to receive peace in your soul today. Every goodbye you carried so heavily has now been answered by a deeper hello. Every loss you felt so deeply has been touched by healing hands. This soul is not holding on to the past, they are standing in the present glory of God, and their love for you has been made whole. They do not carry pain anymore. They carry peace. And in that peace, they are gently asking you to trust that your life is still cradled in the arms of the same God who welcomed them home. They want you to stop trying to be perfect. They want you to stop judging yourself for what you didn't know, what you couldn't fix, what you couldn't carry. They want you to breathe, to rest, to believe that grace is enough. You don't have to be everything for everyone. You don't have to understand all the reasons. You only need to trust that God does, and that He is still writing beauty into your story. Their message is not just about the past, it is about the present, and the future. It is about the days ahead that still hold goodness, laughter, new memories. They are not asking you to stop grieving. They are asking you to grieve with hope. Because they are alive. Because love has not ended. Because God is not finished with you. And when you feel the weight of everything pressing down, they want you to remember this one truth: you are not walking alone. Not now. Not ever. They walk with you in a way you cannot see but can sometimes feel, in moments of quiet comfort, in bursts of unexpected peace, in memories that rise up like warmth on a cold day. Those are not accidents. They are reminders. You are surrounded. You are held. You are part of something holy. And no matter how far you feel from joy, it is still reaching for you. The soul who once walked beside you is now cheering for you from eternity, full of the same love, but now deeper, brighter, and everlasting. Let this settle into your spirit. Let it slow your racing heart. Let it soften the corners of your pain. Part 9 is on its way, and it will carry even more of the light that heaven is pouring out for you. Stay close. Let your heart stay open. There is still more love to receive. Archangel Michael says, "Heaven's alert continues like a gentle thread woven through time, steady and unbroken, carrying the voice of a soul who once walked this earth beside you, and now walks in the fullness of light." They speak not with urgency, but with deep calm and sacred kindness, offering their message like a blanket over your weary heart, asking you to receive it slowly, like sunlight warming the edge of a cold morning. They are not distant. They are not gone in the way you may have believed. They have not vanished into silence or forgotten what it feels like to be human, to ache, to long, to wait for healing that feels too slow. No, they remember. They remember all of it. And yet now, they see it through the eyes of heaven, where nothing is wasted, nothing is forgotten, and nothing that was given in love is ever buried. They want you to understand that their life didn't end, it changed. And your connection to them didn't break, it simply moved, from something seen to something felt, from presence to spirit, from temporary to eternal. They do not reach you with hands anymore, but with grace. They don't speak with a voice your ears can hear, but with a presence your heart still knows. This isn't imagination. It's the quiet truth of heaven, that love continues, that souls remain, and that God weaves every thread together into a design more beautiful than anything we can yet grasp. They know your days are not always easy. They've seen the way you smile for others even when your heart feels like it's barely holding together. They've seen the way you keep loving, keep helping, keep believing, even while carrying a weight of unspoken questions. And they are here now to say, none of it has been unseen. Not by them. Not by heaven. And especially not by God. What if everything you've been chasing, wealth, freedom, success, could be drawn to you automatically, simply by unlocking a secret brain wave hidden inside you? Once classified by intelligence agencies, this discovery is now available to the public, and it's changing lives instantly. Picture yourself debt-free, stress-free, and thriving. The window is open, but not forever, and every second you wait is wealth slipping from your hands, so grasp it now. Click the link in video description and comments below to awaken this money magnet frequency and watch abundance flow into your life today. Type Amen if you surrender fully to God's will.